So glad that you're here. I'm so glad that you. Sorry, I have the hiccups. And I know this is not very good of me to be doing a video where I have the hiccups, but it doesn't seem to want to go away. So sorry for the weird faces. I'm going to try and make this as fast as possible so that you don't have to endure that. But yeah, welcome to this week's word day. And does it have a title? Well, I think if it had a title, it would be "Don't Just Cry," and I guess you will understand when I get into this. So let me get into this. So it's First Samuel chapter 11. It's the whole chapter, so I'm not going to read the whole chapter. I'm going to give you a rundown of what happens and read the main verses. But like, I would advise you to read the whole chapter. It's a really cool story. So it's First Samuel chapter 11, and the storyline is basically it wasn't a long time ago that Samuel brought out Saul and said that Saul will be the next king. So everybody's like, oh, okay, so it's him. And it's weird because yeah, that's another story. But anyways, so everybody had an idea, okay, he's the guy that's going to be the king. He's like the king. So but he hadn't like done the whole royal thing yet. They were still in that phase of transition, I guess. And in one area of Israel, the Ammonites, whether the Ammonites clearly are foreign country that wanted, and they were neighbors actually, and they wanted to take over this land. And usually when you take over a land, there are two options. Is either you kill everybody there and then you just take over the place and you take the property and the gold and whatnot, and also the land, or you make everybody servants. So these people were seriously going to take up this place in Israel, and I don't remember the name now. I will read it to you in a sec. So that was happening, and it was just it was frightening as it was, because they were going to be oppressed or killed. So these people come and they're like, okay, so what's gonna happen? We are going to kill all of you, and yeah, that's it. We are not even going to consider having your servants. All of you are going to die. So these people, the people of the land, were so desperate. They were like, please, please, can you just like consider in some way, can we come to an agreement whereby you won't kill us, please, like anything? So the people were like, okay, if y'all let us take off your right eye, this is my right eye, your right eye, then I will we would just oppress you, and we would just oppress you, and we won't kill you. Just let us pluck off your right eye. Now I read a concordance, and it was commentary, sorry, and it was weird. Two things were interesting. One, why the eye, and two, why the right one, like why so specific. So basically the reason why it was the right eye, people, is because in the ancient times, when they used to fight, they used to hold their spear with their right hand. Okay, so when they were they used to hold their spear with their left hand. So while they were holding the spear will practically block their view of their left eye. So they would only have their right eye to see. So imagine all those ruthless battles. They used to only practically see with one eye, which was their right eye, because your left eye is being covered by your spear here. So if they removed their right eyes, they would never be able to fight them. So they would never be able to try and conquer them, because their eye is gone and this is covered. So anyways, that was smart, I guess. Wicked but smart. So they're terrified. They're like, oh my days, this is terrible. There's no way we are going to survive this. So they said, okay, give us 7 days, and then if you will have mercy. Oh, the hiccups are gone. Hallelujah. I don't know if you noticed. Anyway, so they asked, okay, give us 7 days, and if in 7 days, it's funny. They said, give us 7 days, and let us ask the rest of Israel if they want to help us. If nobody will help us, then yeah, you can pluck off our eyes. Now, surprisingly, the Amorites said yes. Now, why did they say yes? One, they said that they would send messengers, and this is still from the commentary. They said that they would send messengers all over Israel. In those days, it wasn't like now that you have a group and then you send a message and like that in it gets there. Like it takes days to be able to go around the whole of Israel. As small as Israel is compared to other nations anyway, it would take a long time before you get everywhere and tell everybody to gather up, they self, and to come and rescue you. And two, they didn't have a king, or nobody knew they had a king yet, because like the Saul's thing wasn't that official, and for them to even start finding a leader that would actually guide them into battle would have just been a long thing. So these people didn't. And three, if they didn't allow them, there was a very great if they didn't allow them to do that, there would be great probability that they would fight like crazy against their oppression, because they would see that that is literally their last chance. But if they believe that somebody might come and help them, they might not fight as much. So since the Ammonites were that sure that nobody would come to their rescue, they were like, okay, so that at least they'll have false hope and they won't fight back, I guess. So this happens, but these people were smart. See, it's good to be smart when you're, in a risky position. These people were smart, because what happened? They only sent a messenger to one place. What place was it? They only sent it to the place where Saul was, because obviously they knew that Saul was a new dude in charge. So please send your health signals or your distress signals to the right places if you want right help. So they sent it to the town where Saul is, but at the moment Saul wasn't around when the messages got there. So Saul was coming back. The Bible says he was coming back, and I'll read that in a sec. He said he was coming back from the fields, apparently because he had oxen with him. Yeah, that's the word, oxen with him. So he was coming back from the field, and then he saw like other people in the town like crying like ballistic, like seriously, like it's terrible. So he was like, what is wrong, guys, what is wrong? And he legit was, his sentiment was, if I can help, let me help. If I can't help, at least let me weep with you. He wanted to know what was wrong, why the people were so in distraught and crying and just terrified. So they were like, the Amorites have gone to the people and you're going to pluck off all their eyes and stuff. And when that happened, Saul just, it says the Spirit of the Lord came up on Saul and he just got so angry. Like imagine the reaction to the Spirit of the Lord coming. Anyways, the Spirit of the Lord came on him so mightily, he got so angry. He took one of like the oxen around, butchered it, and sent pieces of it around Israel, and said that if you will not come and help me fight these people, I will do the same thing to your oxen. And you need to understand it was a real threat. It wasn't the sentimental, oh, if oxen were not pet. It wasn't like, oh, I'll butcher your dog so your kid will cry for a month. No, it wasn't that. Yeah, they were literally livestock. It was saying, I will basically destroy your livelihood, because that's what they used to work for, transportation, for farming especially. These were their machines, their tractors, so to say. So this would cripple people if they didn't have their oxen. So obviously the people got all riled up, and then they joined Saul, and they went and they just strategized in a brilliant manner, and they won. And these people's eyes were saved. So why is this study called Don't Just Cry? Wait. Let me read the key verses. The key verses said, um, okay. Okay, then came the messengers to Gibeah. So Gibeah was the city where Saul was. So, so it's verse 4. First Samuel chapter 11, I'm reading from verse 4 now. But if you want the whole story, which is a really cool story, read the whole chapter. But I'm just reading a few verses starting from verse 4. Then came the messengers to Gibeah of Saul and told the tidings in the ears of the people, and all the people lifted up their voices and wept. And behold, Saul came after the herd out of the field, so he wasn't there. And Saul said, What aileth the people that they weep? And they told him the tidings of the men of Jabesh. So yeah, the people in Jabesh, sorry. The people that were in distress and their eyes were in danger were Jabesh. I forgot before. And the Spirit of God came upon Saul when he heard those tidings, and his anger was kindled greatly. And he took a yoke of oxen and hewn them in pieces and sent them throughout all the coast of Israel by the hands of messengers, saying, Whosoever cometh not forth after Saul and after Samuel, oh, this is so sweet, and after Samuel, so shall it be done unto his oxen. And the fear of the Lord fell upon the people, and they came out with one consent. And when he numbered them in Bezek, the children of Israel were 100,000 and 300,000, and the men of Judah 30,000, and they, yeah, and basically, yeah, and they won. So now the reason why I said this is these people heard that their fellow Israelites, their fellow men, their countrymen, their people were in danger. They were either going to die or going to have their eyes plucked off. What was their reaction? They cried. Like, when I first read it, I was like, oh. But then I realized that this was a distress signal. When they saw something bad, they weren't supposed to cry. They were supposed to have the reaction the Saul had. They were supposed to motivate the people around them, get angry at the injustice, motivate the people around them to go and fight the injustice that was holding place. It's not enough, basically. What convicted me so much is it's not enough to sympathize. It's not enough to just sit there and say, oh, I'm so sorry for you. It's not enough to cry when you hear of an injustice. When you hear of an injustice anywhere, about anything, whether it's next to you or in another country, it's not enough for you to cry. Because I have the tendency of really just feeling other people's pain. But when I do, I usually just cry about it and think I'm being such a good Christian. Some days I'm shedding tears for something that's none of my business. But then at the end of the day, that is not even the right or righteous response. The right and righteous response is to stand against, in any way you can, to stand against the injustices that's being wrought. So it taught me that when I see bad things happening, it's not enough for me to be all sentimental. Me being, and the commentary went on to explain that when you're being all sentimental is really selfish, because what you're saying is, boo-hoo is happening to them, and oops, it could be happening to me next, so we are all in trouble, and sorry, I can't do anything. I won't risk my life for you. I don't care enough to do that, but I'll cry and realize that, you're in soup, but I can't do anything. It's such a heartless thing to do. These people could have started riling up the people. When Saul came, they could have already had, messages sent out. They had a limited amount of time here. They had a deadline. They had 7 days. And if, Saul came back any time later than that, these people could have lost their eye or potentially died just because these people fell. Let's cry and pretend we care when we could really do something about it, but we don't care enough. We don't love enough to sacrifice our own lives, to sacrifice our own image, to sacrifice our own comfort. How many times do we do that? That we sympathize with somebody and we're like, oh, sorry, but we do not do what we know we could do, or we don't even think of a way where we could help. We don't bother to even try to help. We just sympathize and cry with them, but we don't even try to get them out of the trouble they're in. And this really, really, really convicted me, because that's something I do a lot. And it's funny because you will feel like you're being such a good person, because you're feeling your pain, but you doing anything about the pain that you're feeling. If it was you, would you like to know that, oh, a group of people somewhere are crying because you're about to die? Or would you want them to get up and to come and save you, and to come and save you from this terrible death? Would you, if you were the person that you're feeling sorry for, what would you want somebody to do for you? Would you want the person to just feel sorry for you, to just cry for you in their corner, to just say, oh, I'm with you, when they're doing nothing to help you? Or would you want them to stand up and to think of a way? What they had to do, they had to go and fight a battle, they had to go and risk their lives, they had to go and do so many, gather up and just leave their families. They had to do all of this to save just a portion of them. What are we doing? And another thing that I found very interesting is the only person that really cared about these people was Saul and Samuel. Why do I say this? Because I just finished saying how great they were, because they gathered themselves and left their family and blah 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 blah. They had a threat, okay? Saul had to say, I will take away your livelihood, I will cripple your business and your way of life if you do not help somebody else. Have we reached a point where we're so heartless, we're so selfish, that God needs to put us in a position where we will suffer if we don't help the ones that are suffering around us? Do you feel like you're in such a situation where it's like, oh gosh, I have to help, this person, or I'm losing out on this? Does it have to be that condition before you can go out of your way to help somebody? So for real, this thing convicted me to the last, because there's so much. And sometimes it's not just injustice, like somebody being killed unjustly, or somebody being oppressed, or somebody being, sometimes it's not even an oppression by a system or force or something else. Sometimes it's other stuff, like what did I want to say? Sometimes it's problems that are in your society. You know there is an issue in your society and you're not doing anything about it, but like, you know good luck, to those people that are in that problem. That maybe some, I don't know, like for example, when I was whenever I went for holidays, or whenever I go for holidays, it's still like that kind of, my little brother would have homework, and sometimes he would need my help with the homework. And there were times, not a lot of times, but there were few times, I usually like helping him, but there were a few times when I wouldn't want to help him, because I don't know, I'm watching something really cool somewhere on social media, and like I have to come out of my comfort zone, as silly as this might seem, to help him out. And sometimes, I could wait, for my mom to say, like, for real, your brother is hustling over here, go and help him. And then I got a shouting, so that's why I'm helping. But, it was better when I came out of my way to help him out. That's an example. In what way can you help somebody out like that? There are just so many things that make me really, really cry, weep inside. And I realize now what a hypocrite I've been. From the, I'm going to say this, although it's risky, I've been trying to avoid it off video. But what this convicted me of a lot was the injustice of black Americans in America. I have, since before these whole movements started, I've had a heart for America in general, and I've had a heart just for that community. I don't know why, I just had it always. And maybe because most of my influences media wise are that, even pastors that I used to listen to were the TG Jakes, and the what's that guy's name again? You had the John Grace, he's a comedian, but he's also a pastor. I listen to those people. Then my music, I listen to, Lecrae, I listen to KB. So I have a lot of their influence in my mind. So, and when I'm influenced by somebody, I do care about where, especially when it's music and arts, I want to know what influence led to that art that I'm enjoying. So that made me to really want to know more about their culture and so on and so forth. So recently, when my eyes were open to the injustice that they're going through, I could just literally, sometimes I would just sit there and I would cry and I would be so miserable for them. And this sounds really embarrassing because I'm disgracing myself right now. But I would really, especially when I would watch the videos of what would happen, I would just be so outraged and I would be crying and I would cry my eyes out. And sometimes most of the times I would pray. But one thing I realized is that I never actually thought, oh, okay, apart from praying, what else could I do to help? To be honest, I still haven't figured out some genius way to contribute. I know I can solve anything by myself or whatnot, but to contribute to the solution, I still haven't gotten things together. I can't tell you I've started these organizations that does something great, but like the thought of doing something instead of just not just praying, because praying is really important, but not just staying in my room and feeling miserable, and to think, oh, if I had an opportunity to do something, would I do it? If I could put myself in danger but help be a solution, would I actually do it? I had to ask myself those questions. And if there's anything that weighs heavy on your heart, whether it be about your community that you live in, or because I've had that. I For the community I live in, I know by God's grace how I could contribute, but for that escape, I kind of was like, sorry guys, I really feel sorry for you, but I can't do anything. But now I'm really getting out of that box, and I'm sharing this very weird, vulnerable part of me to prompt you to think of ways where you can really just touch lives. You could touch lives and actually make a difference in somebody's life or save lives. You never know. If you have a heart for people that are going through suicidal thoughts, if you have a heart for people that are going through this depression, if you have a heart for people that have a certain disease, if you have a heart for homeless people, whatever you have a heart for, whatever, that when you see it, it really just makes your heart ache, whatever that ache is that makes you maybe even shed a tear like I do, but you do nothing about it. I'm here to tell you, you crying and feeling sorry is not enough. It's not enough. You have to stand up and do something. Think for God to lead you. Ask the Spirit of God to come upon you. And maybe the immediate emotion might not be fluffy happiness, it might be anger, like Saul, but it will activate you to do something that God is leading you to do, and that would be a blessing to the world and will bring glory to His name. So yeah, we are called to be saved, yes, but to go out and preach the gospel. We are called to live out the gospel. We are called to preach the gospel. We are called to engage the world that we're in, and not to see how we can be safe in our comfort zone and still be human, because we have feelings for the suffering of others. So yeah, I've spoken a lot, but this is something that was burning of my heart. I read it, and then I read the commentary, and these truths just hit me, just convicted me, and I was like, I have to share this. I've since moved on to other passages, and trust me, this book, the whole book is amazing. But the book that I'm reading now, First Samuel, I never saw these truths that I had seen before, and the chapter 12 is about legacy. So maybe that's what next week will be about. I don't know. Maybe. So yeah, what can I say? I'm just so great you stuck around for this long. I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful. I hope I have touched you in some way by sharing my heart like this. And what else do I want to say? Yeah, be here ending of this week on Friday for Farewell Friday, where I'll be doing a cover of a song that you can suggest if you want to. Here, the deadline was yesterday, but I'm learning slide today because I need to start practicing, people. Okay, love you. God bless you. Bye.